Hey, I'm Cecily Korst. Welcome to The Trailer.
The Trailer Talks is sponsored by Imaging DNA. Check them out at imagingdna.com. Thank you for being on The Trailer Talks. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. My name is Jeffrey Gitterman, and I have two companies. I have a financial company and a consulting company. And I try to blend two worlds, basically the world of material and the world of the spiritual. Eastern philosophy, goodwill, karma, all of those things into the financial world. So I'm battling on Wall Street to bring good values and ethics.
Tell us about your book, because I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. What I love about the book is it came out of one talk. So back in 2005, I was asked to be a keynote at a spiritual capitalism program. I really didn't know what I was going to say because initially I was just asked to be on a panel. And then over the weekend, it was a weekend-long conference that Howard Bloom was running. By the end of the weekend, things had shifted around so much, and I was asked to be the keynote. So I hadn't come prepared with anything. And the book, or at least the four pillars that the book is based on, came really out of nowhere. I would call it almost divine inspiration, I guess. Not that I heard anyone talking to me, but when I was walking onto the platform, I really had no idea what I was going to say. And I've given hundreds of seminars. It was the best seminar that I ever gave. And it inspired a lot of people that were at the seminar. And there was a line of people that wanted to talk to me after the seminar, and wound up coaching most of the people that were there that day. And it's been a great journey ever since. Some divergent paths and stuff, but the book really does speak to what I'm trying to do in the world.
I was wondering which came first. Is it the financial side or was it the speaking side?
The financial side came first, and I really thought that if you were going to change the world of finance, they were only going to listen to somebody that had their background and experience. There are a lot of speakers out there, whether it's Wayne Dyer or Deepak Chopra or Eckhart Tolle, that have really powerful messages. But the financial world is very closed off to somebody that doesn't come from their world preaching to them. So I just really believe that I had to be successful there first to really have any shot of changing that environment at all.
Tell us about the four pillars, because those are incredible and great messages.
So what came out in the talk that I gave was this acronym CORE. And at the time, even back then, it was a very big thing to be physically in your workouts working on your core. So I thought that if physically it made sense to work on your core, then certainly in mentally and spiritually it made sense to work on your core. So this acronym of CORE stands for connecting to source, owning your unique expression, redirecting your attention, and expanding your awareness. So connecting to source meant spending some time every day where you just focus that energy inward and allowed yourself to be quiet and still and gain control of a mind that's being pulled in 1,000 different directions. And to me, that's the foundation for any kind of peace and normalcy that you're going to have in life. Then we go into owning your unique expression. And I believe that everybody comes to this world with some kind of gift for the world. How we express ourselves in whatever we do is our gift. And how much energy and light we bring into the world and bring to other people is our gift. And we each do that in our own unique way. When do you feel most inspired? When do you feel most energetic? When do you feel like time is passing by and you don't even notice it? Those are three criteria for when you're really in flow. And what we urge people to do is to do a diary over 30 days of the peak 15 minutes of each day. So where did I feel most in flow? Where did I, again, feel like time was passing by and I didn't even notice it? I felt energized. I really had the most joy in how I was feeling and what activity I was doing during that 15 minutes. And we have people track that for a month and then start to identify with that tracking what is it that I do that most inspires me? Because what most inspires me is what's going to have the biggest gift to the world, because then I'll be the most energetic and the most giving and the most focused on just expressing myself in the biggest way possible. So redirecting your attention is the third pillar. So while you can be completely present now, if you don't like how now looks, you can only change the future now. I know this sounds a little metaphorical here, but you can't change right now. It's already been written. So what you can do is you can start to attempt to write different scripts, bring in different actors, focus on a different image of yourself. And this is what we actually do. So we use the metaphor of the movie. So we get people to make a movie in their head only of what the perfect day in the life of you would look like 3 years from now. The more you do that, I kind of like to think of the word imagination. So in the word imagination is the word image. So your image is locked up in your imagination. And if you're not imagining in the future a better, bigger you, then you're going to keep showing up as the same you that you are now. And if you're happy with that you, that's fine and that's great. But if you're not, and you think you deserve more and you think you are more, then you have to work really hard at changing your own image of yourself. And once you believe in that image and you really lock it down, you've played that movie in your head 1,000 times every night before you go to sleep, then you've created this new image that you can actually show up in the future.
So the E in core.
The idea of expanding your awareness is that we're not alone. It's not all about me. It's actually all about us. And until we have that view, it's very hard to get anywhere. So how do we all start looking at the fact that we're one whole? And we've answered this question by helping produce a film that'll be out next year called Continuum. And it's just interviews all the astronauts about how their perspective shifted when they saw Earth from space. When you see that image, it changes how you feel about us. It changes you from an I to a we. And unless we really start pushing out that perspective shift, we're not going to get the right solutions to the problems we have today. I mean, Albert Einstein said you can't solve the problems of today with the mind that created them or the consciousness that created them. And we have an individualized consciousness. And unless we go to a more group, collective, holistic consciousness, we're going to be in trouble eventually. And I'm not saying tomorrow, and I'm not a doomsayer, but we do need a shift. And expanding your awareness, and all the tips in the book are very simple day-to-day tips to just start seeing the world through other people's eyes and start feeling more connected, one person at a time. Not a big change, just how can I meet one person today and feel some unity with myself and that person? And there's very simple strategies in the book to actually feel that and open that up.
How does your personal story inform your work?
I think that if I don't keep growing, then I have nothing to teach. So, it's interesting. I wrote a book. We're now re-editing the whole book because there are changes in me, and those changes in me inform what I want to teach about. So the more I learn and the more I grow, the more what I teach changes. And if I'm not a true example, a walking example of what I'm teaching, then who's going to believe what I'm teaching? So to me, it's really important that I embody what I speak about in the book. And to the best degree possible, I try to do that every day.
What was this past year's pinch me moment for you?
So I think I have these more often than not, but I have an autistic son. And I read a book. So it's, it is definitely the biggest thing that happened to me. I read a book that was written by a 13-year-old autistic boy called The Reason I Jump, and it's out in Barnes & Noble right now, so it's the most recent thing. And it's a 13-year-old boy that's severely autistic, much more than my son is, describing autism and why he is the way that he is from such an introspectful place and with such detail and an eye to the psychological and even spiritual manifestation of autism that it completely changed the way that I look at my 17-year-old son, and completely opened up a world to me that for 17 years has basically been closed off to me. It gave me tremendous insight into someone that I love, desperately and don't always know how to. So, I mean, those kinds of shifts are bigger than anything in work or anything else that I could think of.
So the title of your book is Beyond Success, and I'm curious, what is success for you?
To us, success is when your unique creative expression is aligned in service to the world. Because when you wake up every day, and I had a radio show called Beyond Success for a couple of years, and I just interviewed people that were wildly passionate about what they were doing. That was my guidepost. So it didn't matter what you did, you had to be wildly passionate about it. You had to wake up every morning thinking that if I don't wake up and do this, the world's not going to be okay. Like I got to get out there and do this. And it's burning in me, and I'm doing it not for money. I'm doing it because if there was no money in the world, this is what I would be doing every day. And to me, that's what the book is about, and that's what success is about. It's about waking up every day and loving what you do. I mean, I don't ever remember, I'd have to go back to 1988 and work to think of a morning where I woke up and was like, oh my God, I can't believe I got to go to this job. And I did that for about 2 weeks, and then I told my dad, like, I got to quit. I had a great job. I mean, it was a great job. I'm like, I have to quit this job. And I said, I'll kill myself if I stay in this job for another day. And since then, thankfully, I've been on a path where I wake up every day really loving what I do and would do it for free.
So tell me about your creative process, because it seems to me that you do like 5 or 6 different things that are creative on a daily basis.
So it's about getting really quiet. I find the quieter I can get, the more I see new pathways. I'm a financial advisor, and I try to teach this all the time, but the word listen and the word silent are made up of the same letters. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that the only way you can listen is to be silent. And we talk about at work that there are basically 4 different ways to listen. You can really truly listen and be silent, or you could listen and wait to talk, or you could listen and wait to please, or we talk about work, all those people that like to correct you whenever you do something wrong, so you could listen and wait to correct. But when you truly listen, and it could be to the quiet around you, or it could be to the person in front of you, really divine inspiration comes in those moments that don't come when your mind is active. So I think the mind is like a two-way receiver. So it could put out information and it could receive information, but it can only receive information when it's quiet. So you could put out a lot of information, but you can't keep growing and evolving and get a lot of creative ideas if you're not spending an equal amount of time just being quiet. So that's by far, that's the best creative process, I think, that exists.
Is that the one thing that you think everyone should know about living a life creatively, or is there another one thing?
To me, that's the most important thing. I think that unless you could identify that true voice in you, there's the constant critic in every one of us. And then buried deep below the constant critic is the voice of inspiration. But you have to learn to quiet that critic in order to be able to hear the inspiration. So the more you could work on disengaging yourself from the critic, the more you open up creatively, and the more you get inspiration to really be doing what you're supposed to be doing in the world. And it doesn't happen if you're always listening to the voice of the critic. It's impossible to overcome that by any means other than to go deep within yourself and find that stronger voice that believes in you.
Tell me where people can find out more about you.
So the website's beyondsuccessconsulting.com, one word, beyondsuccessconsulting.com. And basically our book's on Amazon and Kindle, so you can get the book there. There's also plenty of YouTube videos out for free that describe the book and a lot of the pathways in the book. So you could just go on YouTube and put my name in, Jeff Gitterman. And I think there's 8 or 10 different videos, some that cover almost the whole book. So if you can't afford the book, go on YouTube and watch it for free.
That's all I have for you. If you have a last word that you'd like to give.
Sure. So I think that we're all kind of like this light switch. And right now our light switch is kind of off and dark because we're looking out in the world and thinking that the world has something to provide us that can make us feel whole. So everyone's desperately searching, whether it's for money or power or fame or drugs or sex, whatever outlet they're looking for to fill that void within them. And it really just is a matter of flipping the switch and realizing that you're the light that the world needs. It's not the other way around. The world has really nothing to offer us. We came here to offer our light to the world. And when you flip that switch and wake up every day thinking that the world needs you and your light, and you stop looking for the world to save you, then we'll all be a better place, and you will fill that void instantly. So that's my message.
Outstanding advice. Thanks so much. I know our audience is going to love it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on the Trailer Talks. I really do. It rained this morning, so like nobody's doing a lawn. It's beautiful.
It makes for good radio.
It makes for excellent radio. And I have 3 little partners that lie on the floor next to me over on this side.
Okay.
And they're all sleeping, so I think we should be good as far as interruptions go.